Hello students, once again welcome back to English Literature Classroom. Today I am going to give question answer from the poem Abhisara the Tryst written by Rabindranath Tagore. It's a poem for class 11. Clear? Now, before starting the question answer, let me tell you something about the poet and the poem. Clear? The author of the poem is Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, the greatest of India's modern poet. He showed remarkable poetic talent even at an early age. He was a versatile writer. He was an educator with great originality and imagination. Abhisara the Tryst was translated into English by Tagore and is found in the anthology entitled Fruit Gathering. Tagore's poem showed that he was an inspired poet and a conscious artist. Abhisara the Tryst is a story poem that narrates the story of a Buddhist monk. Okay? It narrates the story of a Buddhist monk who lived in the 3rd century BC and Vasavadatta, a popular courtesan of the time. Tagore adapted the storyline in his poem with some changes from Buddhist literature. It gives a glimpse of India's ancient culture and traditions, especially the spiritual divinity and the universality of human behavior as portrayed through the Buddhist monk Upagupta. Okay? Now, let me tell you something about this poem. Okay? In the poem, Upagupta, an ascetic. Now, what is the meaning of ascetic? Ascetic means saint. Okay? Upagupta, an ascetic, was asleep on the dusty ground at night. Then, a dancing girl called Vasavadatta, passing by him in the darkness of night, stumbled and her foot touched Upagupta's chest. Clear? Upagupta was startled. Startled means surprised. He woke up and saw Vasavadatta with a lamp in her hand. She was struck by his outer personality. Okay? Vasavadatta was struck by Upagupta's outer personality and requested him to come with her to her house. Upagupta politely declined her request but promised to visit her when the time was ripe. Clear? What did Upagupta promise? Upagupta promised that he would visit her when the time was ripe. After some time, Vasavadatta was afflicted with a contagious skin disease and was forced to leave the city. Upagupta happened to pass by the city gate, where Vasavadatta was lying in the shadow of the wall. Upagupta took pity on her. He not only sat by her side but took her head on his knees, offered water to quench her thirst, and applied medicine on her wounds. This was how Upagupta literally fulfilled his agreement to meet Vasavadatta when she was forsaken by everybody else and needed his compassion and help. Now, let's start the question answer. Okay? The first question is, explain the symbol used by the poet in the poem. Okay? Explain the symbols used by the poet in the poem Abhisara the Tryst to communicate its message. Answer. The poem communicates a spiritual message through symbolism in the following ways. First, contrast. Okay? There is a contrast between a dancing girl and an ascetic. Vasavadatta is a dancing girl. She is stirred with jewels, wearing a pale blue mantle. She represents materialistic values, whereas Upagupta stands for spiritual values. Second point is seasons. The poet has used the seasons of monsoon and spring as symbols of the two contrasting phases of life. Next point, the city. The walled city of Mathura is full of worldly vices, while the territory outside the city is free from materialism. Next point, darkness and light. Darkness and lights are used symbolically and ironically. The ascetic was sleeping in the darkness when the dancing girl bumps into him. The ascetic Upagupta, though sleeping in the dark, appears to be enlightened as he could not be tempted by worldly pleasures. However, the second meeting between the two occurs in brightful night. Here Vasavadatta seems to have realized the futility of worldly pleasure, and hence she is also on the bright light of full moon. And the last point is the dusty earth. Okay. At the first meeting, the proud and beautiful girl's feet touch the ascetic breast and she says, "The dusty earth is not a Fitbit." She is ignorant of the future. As soon she is found lying on the same dusty earth. At this point, she lay at his feet. The poet shows that everything returns to the dusty earth. Clear? After this much, with this I am concluding the video. In my next video, I am going to bring something new. Until then, goodbye.